Good evening, TheoTrade. This is Corey Rosenblumen. You're watching the Theo Nightly video for the 18th of May, 2021, and we are going to talk about this is a 1-minute chart of the S&P. This is a 5-minute chart of the S&P, and this is the financial sector, which had a distinctive sell-off into the close. This is too small of a time frame to tell any sort of analysis or plans or strategies for the future, but that is what the headlines will probably be in tonight's videos and tonight's discussions, because we did see an end of day sell-off, and we'll look at them all in the indices, and then we'll do a bigger picture swing trade and other type of strategies. This is the Nasdaq, and this is the Dow mini futures. And today's session on the Russell, although it was strong, it did have a sharp sell-off as well. The other interesting factor of today's session was crude oil. Now, crude, as we see, had a sell-off well before the market itself took the downside tumble, but it had a fall from 66 per barrel all the way to 64 just about. Now, the VIX volatility index will close the market up, or close the day up, about 8%, and that is about the 21 level. And the bond market, not much to write home about, gapped down and then stabilized. That's just the intraday charts. Now we'll take a look at the bigger picture, which gives more insight. This is the S&P futures, which is going sideways despite a long term, really since March of 2009, March and April, 2020, the COVID crash and the COVID recovery and the stimulus and all the things that happened since then. The market has been on a series of higher highs, higher lows, but that's not without the volatile snapbacks, or as I've been calling them in evening videos, rubber band pullbacks or snapbacks. And that's just where we're getting at the moment. In the Nasdaq, it has been a little bit weaker, and again, that S&P level is 4,200. The Nasdaq futures is 14,000, and that's fallen all the way 1,000 points lower in the same time frame. This is our hourly chart, to about 1,300. The Dow mini futures continue to make a higher high, but its key pivot or top of the market at the moment is 35,000. And in the Russell, that is just shy of 23,000 or 2,300. Now, the interesting component here is that the Russell has not continued to make higher highs. It's actually gone sideways. So the Russell, or the small cap index, can be seen as more flat or range bound, or in a volatility box, as Don might describe those. It's just going sideways between about 2150 and 2350. Now we'll take a look at crude oil, just that we cover all of our bases in this sell-off today. And it was a sell-off. It was not quite down 1%, but it sure did feel that way at the end of the session. And there was a lot of excitement, and well-deserved excitement, to the downside. And we'll continue that type of logic for the remainder of the week. Now, crude was up against 66.50, which was not, of course, an all-time high, but with the inflationary talks and the colonial pipeline and different components of the energy sector, crude managed to sneak its way just about to a new high, and that has fallen down from that pivot. Gold, also with potential inflation talk, and that's the talk of the town nowadays, which is well-deserved as well. Gold has risen, or rallied, from 1,700 as a critical support discussed in prior videos. Now it's pushing up to 1,900. And that's just the gold market play. This is the VIX volatility index that has relatively low periods and then a quick spike of active volatility, back down to chop, active spike. And our most recent VIX took us under 16. And that is quite a low level for the VIX in recent terms, or recent months. And that is a play up off of it. Finally, the TLT, or the bond market, continues lower lows and lower highs. This is the ZB, which is a 30-year Treasury bond. Lower lows, lower highs, falling averages at the same time the equity market, or the futures market, is trading up to all-time or near all-time highs. And the 30-year note, Treasury note, is also downtrending but stabilizing into support levels. So the thought process here as we go forward, we normally use the videos to talk about short-term opportunities happening right now. But if we could push a little further than right now, if the bond market has bottomed and the equity market has topped, these things you're seeing on the rally up in the bonds and the fall in the stock market that could be a little more sustained than just a few sessions. So that is what we'll be watching over the next week, week and a half, and into May through May into June. Despite all this, I always like to show stocks that make new 52-week highs. And what reason? I just want to see if there's broad participation, or maybe there could be swing trades on the long side if you want to balance a short portfolio or a swing account that is a little bit more bearish or balanced to the bear side. If you want to add some positive delta or at least a few long positions, some or any of these candidates might be for you. And they're always there. They're always available. So to the extent as, or the extent of, the market keeps making higher highs. If it doesn't, then you'll benefit from the portfolio when the market does continue declining. But these stocks, there are 45 of them in the S&P 500 that made new. This is scanning for 52-week highs or yearly highs, 52 weeks. But some of them are making new all-time highs. And we'll look at them over on the edge of the screen. I sort by market cap. This, I think, is going to be key going forward because the number one market cap stock in today's tape, there's a few of them actually, and they are financials. So to name a few of stocks that just as of today's session made new 52-week highs, they will include JP Morgan. They will include Bank of America. Also, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and again, just by market cap, Charles Schwab and U.S. Bancorp, and then Capital One Financial and others play into the list. Here is, for your scanning, or if you want to freeze the video, these are the list of stocks that made new 52-week highs in today's session, again, sorted by market cap. All the way down to AM and FLS. What's the play at this exact moment going forward? Now, these stocks are strong stocks getting stronger. The general play is to go long and play in the direction of the trend. That's to be done on pullbacks. We call them flags or retracements, and that would be call spreads or vertical spreads in the direction of the rising moving averages. But again, these videos are what's happening right now in the market. Right now in the market, these would favor snapbacks or fades or put plays to go down to get lower targets. Just from an overbought perspective, such as prior January that the market fell for a few sessions, and then into March, same logic. And anywhere back in the chart that you might want to look for what we call or refer to as a pullback type of trade. And that's going to be true in Bank of America as well. And of course, Wells Fargo won't show all the stocks here, but they all are going to show similar strategies of a fade, of put plays, of bearish positions, taking us from the high back down to the falling or to the rising moving averages. And that's under the thought process that markets don't go straight up. They go up and down, up and down, up and down. So when the market is overextended from that moving average, that's going to give us a snapback type of play. We might even call these fade trades. Fade means to get short a high to expect a 2, 3, 4, or 5 day pullback. That does not expect the top of the market. That just expects any of the prior situations when the market faded back to the downside. But again, that's where we are at this moment with the market at highs, but probably more than not, short term at least, doing a snapback or a pullback scenario. And if that doesn't happen, then these trends will continue. But there are opportunities on both sides of the tape, both sides of the market, from the long side as it goes higher and pulls back to the moving averages, and for the short side when it is extended above them. And that will be key going forward. Other things that were of interest today were the energy sector, and that was actually the weakest of our 9 sector stocks. That's XLE Energy, and that's on the back of Chevron and ExxonMobil, and some others that had relatively bearish sell-side days today in terms of percent. We also saw Amazon take a rapid turn from 3,300. But again, Amazon, if you look closely, is neither trending up nor down. It's actually in a box or a sideways trading range, meaning the shorts are favored here and the longs are favored here. But that's for another video. This is Corey Rosenblum with tonight's Theo video update for May 18th, 2021.